with E.ON and Severn Gorge, and we meet at least quarterly. And currently they're putting in troughs and putting in fence lines so we can reintroduce grazing onto the rough grassland that's there to stop it scrubbing over. And in the long term, we're looking at public access to the Devil's Dingle again, and using it as an environmental educational resource for local children's schools. The PFA, pulverised fuel ash, does have what we call a succession. So it goes from ash, and then it gets covered in mosses, and then it gets covered in weeds, and then it gets covered in much nicer plants, scrub, woodland. It's an opportunity at the Devil's Dingle to just demonstrate this recovery of industrial sites. And clearly it's a good model, particularly as it's a partnership between us and Severn Gorge and the power generators of how possibly other sites could go on. It allows the Wildlife Trust Severn Gorge to actually speak directly to the station manager, for instance, and have an influence on how they're restoring that site. So that is one that's happened. Industrial heritage, clearly we've got interpretation is Neil Clark and the group working towards a publication to describe those 5 areas that we spoke about earlier. They've been recording. What we're looking also at is identifying what we call consolidation. In Limekiln Wood in particular, these limestone works, there is halves, there's kilns, there's other features. Now slowly over time, since 1900 when the works closed, those things are slowly deteriorating. It's probably quite a nice idea to actually stop them deteriorating and consolidate them. It's not about rebuilding them as they were before, but there's been works in Coalbrookdale, for instance, just consolidated these remains. And they do it on Castle Way. They don't rebuild the castle ruins, they just consolidate the bit that's left behind to stop it deteriorating anymore. We've been talking with the landowners, particularly around the steer-away selection of remains, to try and work out a scheme so we can actually preserve at least a sample of what used to be there. It's another partnership project. It's one underway. Quite a lot of work's been done on this. We had a visit. It's owned by the Raby Estate. They're based at Uffington, that's where the estate office is. And had a visit to the region hill fort. We discussed the erosion, which is caused because on top these soils are very thin. There's a great number of visitors. These are nice little desire lines. This is where you like to run down the banks. And the soil's quite thin, very slowly it just is shaped. You can actually go to the edge here, the turf kind of floats on top of the stone and it just peels off. And that central path, we measured it, averages 9 metres across. That's quite an incredible distance across, and that's just as a pressure of feet, bikes, horse, cars, events over the years. Interestingly, photographs from the 1930s, the path was pretty wide then. The hill's not in danger. What's really in danger is this earthwork here. It's 2,000 years old. Never really had this many people since sort of 70 AD on it, really. Any point? Alan might correct me on that date. Visitor pressure, earthworks erosion. We've done an erosion survey. The next step is to get a costing for those works and then schedule a series of works. It'll take a long time. What I found on these banks here was evidence of the work that's been done by English Heritage. I'm not sure it has lasted very long. So it's a very difficult one to work on. But the partnership group there does include English Heritage, the Raby Estate, ourselves, local historians like Alan here and George, and Sheila Lewis, who's a local archaeologist. Wrapped around it and in it is this ancient heathland. So there's a little bit on the Arkle as well. It's in danger, one from sort of being trampled away, but two, you've got bracken encroachment here. Bracken tends to change the soil, it tends to shade out plants, tends to create a deep litter bed, and it changes, going from sort of heather and bilberry cover to a bracken cover. Now bracken is carcinogenic at certain times of the year, it's very unhealthy for you, so in terms of a heavily visited public site, you need to push it back a little bit. And two, the heathland has been here a long time, so the heathland would have been here. It's historic habitat. So this is the home of the Cornaway, and they would have enjoyed a bit of heathland. They would have picked bilberries at the time. So we need to restore that. And in process at the moment, we've got interpretation. We need to promote understanding of the Hillforth, and there will be a sign at the halfway house. And we're currently working on the text. The illustrations are being done at the moment, and we've got a photo shoot in August from a group of reenactors. So we've got Iron Age reenactors and come up to the Hillforth and gather information. Yeah, so I'm rattling on here. I'm going to go a little bit quicker, but we're nearly there. 3 other elements: visitor management, forest ranger service. Dealing with people, you can put signs up, obstacles, fences, all sorts of things. The best way of dealing with people is a person. So clearly, a ranger's. There's an element where you look at the countryside of the Wrekin Forest and it's like a park. Not in a patronising sense, but it's a park. It functions because it's a place for people to take their leisure and have recreation. So if it's a support positive, somebody gets out of the car at the forest fence, says how do I get to the Wrekin, we can have a signpost, but it's quite nice for somebody to be there, to let them know where to go. If we have a clash between mountain bikes, and I've spoken to a number myself, it's better to do that with a person. Signs are useful up to a point. There's lots of different bits there. Conservation volunteering, Wrekin Forest School. Forest schools were established in Scandinavian countries, generally in a woodland setting, and they're for kids under 7, children under 7, and they're about a regular visit into the outdoor environment. It's actually starting outdoor education very, very early, very simple activities, and we're trying to find a site for a Wrekin Forest School. And the other thing with the Ranger Service is we have considerable problems with young people in the Arkle Reserve, that end, closest to the town. And again, the best way of dealing with that is a person. Fences can be just climbed over, they don't talk, they don't understand, they don't encounter, they certainly don't build relationships. So for that youth element, the Countryside Ranger actually does quite a wide role. It can be quite active in terms of meeting and building relationships with that middle group. Okay. What's next? I'll stop talking shortly. Complete the consultation process. Collate the strongest and best supported initiatives. Some of the ideas we had earlier that were shared with us really didn't have legs, weren't going to go anywhere, weren't viable, we couldn't see how they'd actually work, and we won't get support for. So we need to take this, restructure this plan so it actually becomes an action plan, not just a discussion document. Formally sign up stakeholders. So if I go back to the Wrekin CAF, if it is a viable business proposition, then it will be run by a group, a consortium. So it's the Borough Council, Trust, possibly the parishes involved in that. So that's a formal sort of document that will be signed to support that initiative. So we've got a formal signatory. Final draft of plan, and then seek funding, whatever's appropriate for that. As I mentioned, it's a big bid, and then cross fingers, see where make those things happen. And that's it from me.
Pete, thank you very much. I was conscious that it was going a bit slowly to start with, but you had so much to put in. It's been really nice to hear the whole story, actually. I'm sure we've got a lot of questions for you, but I think it would be quite nice if Rob just did a bit on the veteran trees.
Just wondering, I've got, crossing my fingers here,
yeah.
20 years in IT, that's why I brought 2 laptops and a memory stick.
Yeah.
I've got another lead there. Do we want a quick toilet break for a couple of minutes just while I try a lead? See if I can get it going. If not, I've not got a problem with doing it.
It might be quite a good idea, or perhaps Pete can answer a few questions standing up there.
Yeah, I can do the questions
while
Rob gets ready. You want me to turn this thing off, Rob?